What? What? Mao Mao is so pure, and many scientists, great scientists, and great minds, great scientific minds, and so on, people are just like her. Very obsessive, very focused on a few things. Not many things, not many fluff, irrelevant distractions, but a few things that really matters and very essential. And that's Mao Mao. So pure, so driven, much respect. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and a master of yapping. Athletic Nation Zero, Vanessa Hera, and Greg Boji are the sponsor tier highlights of today's video. I appreciate your support. Shout out to the best patron family and YouTube members. Sit back and I hope you enjoy my take on today's episode of Apothecary Diaries, episode 6. Who are they talking about? Was that the girl and those maids talking about behind her back? She's so picky, it's not like it's gonna kill her. Is she one of the 4 first-rank concubines as we talked about? Or is she the culprit of this mysterious wooden chips they're looking for and searching for because of that rash and poison they inflicted on those people? It's very cold. I love the Chinese music, the traditional dance music. It's good to see that Lady Li Hua fully recovered physically, mentally, emotionally, and she looks very well put together. At least that's the appearance of it, since we never know. And this is something I've been talking about all the time through all my series. Everyone, and I do mean every single person, as long as you're a human being with complex experiences and unique circumstances, everyone is dealing with their own invisible struggle and invisible suffering. No matter how well put, all the mask, facade, fakeness we put up in the front. But everyone is dealing with their own invisible struggling and suffering, because suffering is a crucial part of life, period. But at least on the surface, Lady Li Hua looks very much recovered and a lot better. And shout out to Mao Mao yet again for that whatever mysterious seduction technique with those sizable fruits. Excuse my hand gestures, I don't know how else to convey that. And sounds like Lady Li Hua regained the favors of Emperor and so on. But very much happy to see her being here. Happy to see Lady Li Hua being at the garden party. That's not suspicious at all. Empress. Oh. I was confused for a split second. I was like, wait, I thought the emperor doesn't have a queen yet. But sounds like the empress, she's the mother of the emperor, the king. So, and she does look very young. And sounds like the whisper was how probably freakishly young the empress was when she gave birth to the emperor. Probably in her adolescent years, probably like 13, 14, 15, 16, based on that gross facial expression by Mao Mao. And we know this historically, many women or girls, they got married even through arranged marriage, especially in this political setting, since many girls and even guys, boys, they were political tools and assets for political arrangements. So to deepen the relationship between different nations and states for more prosperity, more political influence, power, and so on. So many girls were given away as political marriages, and they were arranged marriage even when they were like as young as 6, 7, 8. It is very, very grotesque and very gross. according to the modern standard. But back then, it was common for girls to get married and give birth, even at age 13. And it's interesting because Emperor here actually has all the power and he's a true king. But if you look at a lot of different Chinese dynasties based on the historical backgrounds, a lot of the empresses who gave birth to the emperor, when the emperors were young, the empresses were the true power holders. They were puppeteer masters. They would actually influence the politics and the influence of the nation states. Although they're not emperor, because the emperors are young, behind the curtain, literally. Like quite literally, historically speaking, these empresses would show up behind the curtains without showing their faces while still in control and manipulate what is happening in the courtroom in terms of the imperial palace court and so on. But sounds like here the emperor is actually in charge and the empress is more revered and respected as the empress. But I don't really know if the empress actually has a lot of power.
次女ってのは主人に仕えるものよ。無駄に着飾ってどうするのよ。聞いた今の。次女の見た目が悪いと苦労するのは主人なのにね。あの次女たち、リファ様の。今ったら代理戦争の始まりね。私たちも行きましょう。
Proxy war is what's happening in the Middle East for the last like 80 years, right? It's proxy war is superpowers behind are fighting through proximations through different states like Syria, like the Middle Eastern countries. It's actually a war between the United States and a bunch of other countries, like whether it's Russia, China, and so on. So here, that's what the proxy war is. Remember what Mao Mao said, the garden party, seemingly luxurious, very happy, jolly, very festive. But it's actually underneath that, there's political battle happening within the real palace to see who's going to ascend to the top to become the new queen to the emperor. So these ladies and fightings are bickering and arguing with each other. But in reality, they represent like a microcosm of a bigger party or bigger parties and bigger oppositions, which is the concubines. Different first rank concubines.
の仕込みを雇ってるくらいだし、仕方ないか。仕込め？私のことか。あんなの恥のいいとこだものね。なんですって。いいわ、落ち着いて。気づいてないのか。水晶宮ではあんなに仲良くしてたのに。あまり調子に乗ってるとお父様に言いつけてやるんだから。なら言いつけられない体にしてやろう。謝りなさいよ。何よ急に黙って。もうこのくらいに。
I am dead. Oh, I love this show.
何なのよもう。で、マオマオ大丈夫？気にしてません。それより回路を変えなくてよろしいですか？不幸な身の上に加え、自ら顔。2ヶ月も必死に耐えて一切弱音を吐かずこの優しい紳士様が気にかけるのも助けるわ。
That's interesting, and that's probably the most humorous and uplifting display of cognitive biases I've ever seen in any shows recently. Cognitive bias. I usually talk about biases and cognitive biases in a negative way. And here's a fact. Every single person, just like the invisible suffering I talked about earlier, every single person has their own biases. Why? Because we are influenced by different people, different experiences, different upbringing, different cultural background, and so on. And those influences then distort and impact how we view this world. Because our perception, our internal experiences, our internal reality projects and influences how we perceive this objective reality or the external reality. And that's what biases are. So everyone has biases, and there are two types of biases: explicit bias and implicit bias. Definition right here. Explicit is on the surface, it's obvious, blatant. Implicit is hidden, it's unknown, it's subconscious. The reason I'm talking about biases is, remember the deep-rooted first impression of these ladies in waiting when they first saw Mao Mao's scars and band-aids on her arm as a result of her altruistic self-experimentation, because she's so passionate about medicine, drugs, herbs to help people. But remember ladies in waiting's their impression. Mao Mao is so poor. She's been abused, beaten at home. She was probably sold to slavery. Oh my gosh. And they were very maternal. And that impression, aka bias, kept deepening because Mao Mao never corrected them. Because Mao Mao doesn't really care, right? So because of that, now all these ladies in waiting are having this monologue and thoughts to themselves like, oh my gosh, she was beaten. She was bullied at the Jade Pavilion with Lady Li Hua's ladies in waiting and so on. But she's so considerate. She's so thoughtful. This is the power of biases. For better or worse, if we don't correct the biases, it will create an entirely different reality in our minds. None of those happens. If anything, through Mao Mao's sinister, trolling face, she actually caused like a PTSD for the other lady in waiting. That is, again, another very lighthearted, comical, but pretty good portrayal about PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, right here. PTSD. Being pale, frozen, flashback to what happened in back then based on that trauma. That is PTSD at its classic. And that's what happens. That's why the other lady in waiting ran away. But case in point, unless we correct our biases and update our biases based on facts, because our feelings and our perceptions, they're not facts. They are our feelings and they're our truth. Sure, they're our perceptions. But perception is not the same thing as reality, as I've said throughout different series. But that is the power of biases. And that's the reason why they're even more heartbroken and thoughtful for Mao Mao, because they're like, oh my gosh, poor Mao Mao. She went through so much, but she's so thoughtful. She's the best. That's why Master Jinshi looks after her. Of course, she deserves it.
何か妄想している。
Delusional. The show is so funny. I love it.
立場もわきまえられないの？こういう色の衣だなんて。代理戦争があっちでも。弱い14で若輩の特費と弱い35で古参の宿費だもの。そりも合わないわよ。それに元嫁姑だし。嫁姑？ちょっと複雑なんだけど。
What?
お二人はもともと選定の妃と。
Hold up. They used to be mother-in-law and daughter, or daughter-in-law and mother? What kind of twisted family tree is this? Dude, Emperor, you're a sicko, dude. But I wanted to pause here to translate some more Chinese characters since I do read them. So the pure consort sounds like she was a mother-in-law. The previous emperor, in Chinese, is Xian Di. Xian means first, earlier. Di means king or emperor. Xian Di, right here. That's the previous emperor. And then the empress, who's the mother to the emperor, in Chinese is called Huang Cai Ho. Huang is Huang Di. Huang is like gold, which means like imperial, so to speak. Cai Ho is like the empress. But Huang Cai Ho is like the empress above emperor, since you can technically also call the emperor's wife empress or queen. But empress or emperor, it just means who has the power. And then obviously the current emperor, Xian Di. Xian means current, now, present. Xian Di, that's the current emperor. And then the Li Tai Qi, Li Shu, that's the virtuous consort. So that's like the family tree, and sounds like they're explaining it. One last thing is me pausing and translating Chinese characters and deciphering and translating for you guys. Is that helpful? Do you guys want me to skip these, I guess, linguistic translations, Chinese cultural aspects, or do you want me to continue with these part? Since they're not quite psychological analysis, but for me, it helps out with my understanding and cultural understanding. It makes me appreciate the show more because it is a great show.
だけど選定が崩御された。その後、今の帝の妃として戻ってきたの。
Whoa!
選定の崩御が5年前。
Oh, 9.
政
Jeez.
略とはいえ9つで妃とは。
What?
シュ止め。ああ、選定の妃だったのはリーシュ様。
What? 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 The 35-year-old's concubine is the daughter-in-law to the 9-year-old, now who is whatever, 14? That is wild. Absolutely bonkers. And you know, there's already a delicate tension and dynamic between in-laws and daughters, or daughters and mothers-in-law. It's ubiquitous across all cultures. Korean culture, Japanese culture, Chinese culture, American culture. It is ubiquitous. From my knowledge, most cultures have this tension between sons or just daughters and mothers-in-law. And again, it's very complicated, but psychologically, just real quick, psychologically, many mothers, many moms, they experience empty nest syndrome. Definition right here. Empty nest. Your nest is like a mama bird. Your little birdling and little kids, they fly away. So your nest is now empty. So you feel very empty inside. There's a void. You feel all alone because you dedicated all your life to raise your children to become the best they can based on your unconditional love. If you're a good mother, since not every parent, not every father, not every mothers are great. We all know that, right? So because of that, especially with moms and sons and fathers and daughters, there is a unique bond. Father and son, of course, also share a unique bond, but there's something about motherly love with their sons and fatherly love towards their daughters. It is very special indeed. And because of that, there is this psychological, emotional tension between a lot of the mothers-in-law and daughters, or mothers and daughters-in-law. It's as if psychologically and subconsciously or unconsciously, they feel as though their sons are leaving them for another woman, which is their partners and wives or girlfriends and whatever the case, right? Again, this is a grossly oversimplified version, but the point is the in-laws are typically tricky. So can you imagine you flip the age and the 35-year-old is daughter-in-law to the 14-year-old? That is absolutely crazy bonkers. Last thing I will say is, in this case, the current emperor and the former previous emperor, the father, they're also Eskimo bros. They share the same woman, it sounds like, in a very twisted way. Although I hope nothing sexual happens because she was only 9 at the time, right? But anyway, she's the mother-in-law, concubine. Crazy. She's only 14 years old.
あれが幼衆と。
見て分かったと思うけど、特筆リ
Yeah,
ーシュ様は
14.
まだ幼いのよね。
そのようですね。本来特妃には白の頃。明らかに貴妃である玉葉様と被ってる。空気の読めない子なのかな。
Do you think that 14-year-old concubine, I already forgot her name. There's so many names in this show, guys. I'm trying my best here. Do you think that 14-year-old concubine truly does not know how to read the room? Like vibe check, temperature check? It's like, come on, dude. Like, it's obvious. Lady Ryukyu's wearing crimson, red, and she looks the best in it. So maybe you shouldn't wear that color. And white, I guess, signifies and represents virtue. Like virtuoso, virtue, and she's a virtue concubine. So it makes sense. But my question is it truly that she doesn't know how to read the room, as Mao Mao's speculating, or she just doesn't care and she's purposely reading red to clash purposely as part of this political tactics and warfare, or even psychological warfare with concubine Ryukyu? What do you guys think? Oh, they're freezing. Oh, Mao Mao.
寒いなら持っておくといい。
Yo, they think those are like torture devices because of the reputation Mao Mao established when she was at Jade Pavilion. Look at them stepping back. Like, whoa, is this poison? Like, hey man, don't approach me. Although this will save their lives in this freezing cold. Again, back to cognitive bias. In this case, it's not as comical or humorous as the other cognitive biases of the fellow ladies in waiting who are looking out for Mao Mao because of the distortions I talked about. But here, It's the other type of cognitive bias because of, I guess, Mao Mao's tyranny and her assertiveness and her kick-ass nature when she was reviving and helping out Lady Li Hua. The bias of them and the impression of Mao Mao is very negative and very fear-driven. It's like, whoa, back off, you're dangerous. So this is another display of cognitive biases in two very different demonstrations. Very, very well done by the writer. Case in point, bias.
お人よしね。水晶宮の次女にも分けていいかなんて。玉葉様にも許可をもらうんだもの。は
あ。ん？
かんざし？ああやって花の園に隠れた優秀な人材を勧誘するのよ。
ん？
まあ違う意味もあるんだけどね。そうですか。違う意味もあるんですってば。
Like dating, you're sharing, confessing your love. What's the hidden meaning? You see, here is the psychological profiling I established for Mao Mao since episode 1. She cares nothing outside of the realm of apothecary, herb medicine, right? Helping people, saving people, experimenting on different drugs, combinations. Outside of her intellectual and scientific curiosities, she gives 0 Fs. She doesn't care about the rumors, the love, in this case, hidden meaning. She literally walks away and she's in her own thoughts. Mao Mao is so pure, and many scientists, great scientists and great minds, great scientific minds and so on, people are just like her. Very obsessive, very focused on a few things. Not many things, not many fluff, irrelevant distractions, but a few things that really matters and very essential. And that's Mao Mao. So pure, so driven, much respect. Am I drinking too much Kool-Aid of Mao Mao? I know you guys love Mao Mao too. Like, she's amazing. But am I drinking too much Kool-Aid? Like, should I chill a bit? You know, but...
これをどうぞ、お嬢さん。
恥をかく次女がいないよ。皆に配っているのか。
Yo, Mao Mao, you're so clueless. Again, hidden meaning is not explained because Mao Mao walked away because she doesn't really care. But my take is it's probably like a confession of love. It's probably to confess that, hey, I have a feelings for you. I'm interested in you. Take this. Although these executive assistants dudes, they don't have their PP. But I guess you could still develop romantic feelings and develop meaningful relationships, even romantically, even without the sexual component. It is very much possible, for real though, like on a serious note. But yeah, so I guess that's like the hidden meaning.
どうも。
俺、リハクって言うから、よろしく。
Like a big dog, like golden retriever. Case in point, did you see the camera zooming into Li Hua's feet? And he was kind of literally on his toes. You know the saying, we are on our toes? What does that mean? We're a little bit nervous. We have butterflies. We're shy. We're anxious with the anticipation of what's to happen. That's what we mean when we use the saying, we are on our toes. He was literally on his toes. Why? Because he's like, is she going to accept it or not? Is she going to be receptive and open to my hidden meaning, my gesture of confession, gesture of affection, rather? Because love is a stronger word. Affection is like, oh, I find you attractive. I find you cute. Hey, it's like high school. Remember in high school? Guys, I'm 32. So I've been many, many years apart from high school. But in my high school days, or maybe even middle school, you slip that white paper, white slips to the girls or boys that you are interested in to share your affection, like the hairpin. So I think it's like the parallel, same thing. But to Mao Mao, oh, it's like a big dog. And I guess he feels bad. And he wants to be inclusive and gives out as many hairpins so every maids and ladies in waitings feel included. But obviously, that's not the hidden meaning. That's what it appears to be so it's not hidden. But again, Mao Mao completely missed that mark. Because again, she doesn't really care.
ワンワン。
それもらったの？見せて見せて。参加賞ですが。
Participation award. Lady Li Hua. Aww. Hmm? What'd she give?
ごきげんよ
Hmm? Do you see the difference? All the other ladies in waitings who understand the significance and the hidden meaning of hairpins. I guess I take some of what I said back. Again, they're not explaining, so this is all my speculation, of course. To me, it also appears that it's like a political message. Whichever hairpin you put on your hair, you're displaying and you're demonstrating your allegiance, your loyalty, your faction. Like, what party do you belong? That's what it feels like. And that, based on what ladies in waiting are saying, oh my gosh, what is Mama gonna do? I think that's like the political, again, proxy wars happening again. Invisible, but the tension is palpable. Everyone except Mama feels the tension. This push and pull. It's like, ooh, it's kind of sticky situation. What is Mama gonna do? But Mao is entirely clueless. She's like, huh? Thanks. I guess Lady Li Hua is nice.
へえ、こうしてみるとなかなか思ったよりお偉い。おい、さっきの部下も。
He's a military officer. Okay, I forgot to look at his wardrobe because, like, based on my Chinese historical understanding, higher ranking officers, they wear different colors of robes and they have different patterns, even different hat. Just like the emperor, same thing, right? But emperors usually wear red because red means good luck, fortune, prosperity, and power in China. Red is Chinese favorite color. But usually emperor also has like a belt, golden belt in the front to separate the rank and so on and the prestige, so to speak. So I guess the guy who gave the hairpin to Mao is a military officer. So he does have his PP. So romance is fully possible and it might blossom. But we shall see.
あのキラキラした宦官はいないけど、ま、どうでもいい。
Master Jinshi, glistening I'm dead.
それより毒味だ。
Again, those look like silver cups because as I talked about in episode 1, silver with the chemical reactions and properties can change color and detect poison because of different chemical combustions and reaction. So that looks like a silver cup, and it is a common practice back in the days to use like the first line of defense against poison tasting, as I talked about in episode 1. But that's why she's swirling around so that it maximizes the contact between the liquid and the silver cup as like her first line of defense before she tastes the poison or potential poison and food tasting herself. Yep.
あとは真水で口を。ん？
Oh, everyone else is scared. That's true.
好んで毒を食らうのは私くらいか。どうせならフグがいいな。
Puffer fish is usually banned in most places because they carry poison. It's poisonous and it's very, very delicate. And even in China, puffer fish dishes are known as like a delicacy because unless you're a seasoned chef and you know how to dispose and process the poisons within puffer fish, many people do get food poisoning. It's very well known. And that's why what Mama was saying here, oh, puffer fish would be nice, aka poison. With that ocean sea flavor, will be even better. And again, the stark contrast, although it's humorous, Mama's so composed. She's very analytical. She enjoys the process of food/poison tasting, whereas ordinary, regular poison tasters, they're frightened because they might literally drop dead or become paralyzed. Like the previous food and poison taster that Lady Yokyu hired before they discover Mao's great talent. Again, do you see how just analytical and how different, how much more impressive Mao is, stands out to the compare of her peers? That's why she's attracting more eyeballs. More people are recognizing her. Her reputations and her fame is spreading in Rear Palace because she's impressive. It's like the idea that if you're a diamond, even if a diamond is buried deep within coals and different dust and whatever environment, a diamond and a piece of gold will eventually to be found. That will eventually be discovered. Because if you're a shine, you're going to shine no matter what and wherever you are. That is Mao Mao. Mao Mao, you're a diamond. The stinging, poison.
集中。魚苦手なのか。帝の手前残すわけにもいかないよな。嫌なものを見た。
やたら威勢のいい毒味役がいるぞ。
怯えながら食事する姿なんて見て何が面白いんだ。
いいから見てみろよ。
That's the one that he likes.
あの毒味役、さっきのジョーちゃんか。
She's glowing. She's literally glowing out of excitement and joy and happiness. What is this? What is this seduction edit? Oh gosh. Yo, Mao Mao. Oh, I got goosebumps, dude. That's so funny. Mao Mao will be the perfect spokesperson and doing food commercials for food tasting, like on TVs. She will definitely sell, and I'll buy whatever products because igniting and activating people's appetite based on you eating, that is a skill in itself. Not everyone can make eating seems very appetizing, and Mao Mao has that. In light of potential life and death, potential poison scenario. It's not just because she shines like a diamond, but it's also because the contrast. Everyone else is literally terrified. They're shivering. I'm sure they're frowning and their facial expressions aren't that pleasant to look at. That's the military officer perspective. But Mao Mao is exuding excitement and joy. She's truly just in her moment. She's loving it. She's soaking the glory of tasting tasty food because all these foods are cooked by the imperial or palace chefs. They're very, very tasty and very decadent and delicacies for the concubines and the emperor and the empress to dine. So these are very high ranking. It's like equivalent to like probably Michelin grade food now. Probably 2 or 3 star Michelin grade restaurant food costs like $500, $1,000. That's what they're tasting. That's why Mama is thriving. And that's the impression she's giving. She really stands out no matter what she's doing.
これ毒です。
Yo! I was like, wait, how tasty could it be? Revealed. She was exuding all that excitement. She looked like she was literally high. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because she tasted poison. Mao Mao's favorite food in this world is poison. Full stop. And she calmly, in a very analytical way, this is poison. But again, Mao Mao is so over the moon because it was poison. But obviously it's a serious ordeal because someone just tried to assassinate either the emperor or the concubines. Here comes the secret plot that's been unfolding since you remember the covert operation? I think that was the title of episode 5, I believe. That is in continuation right now.
おい、大臣がスープを飲んで倒れたぞ。薬屋。薬屋。
ごきげんよう、人士様。
ご機嫌はそっちだろ。
しまった。毒に浮かれてつい笑いかけたみたいに。
So funny.
何をするのですか？
医務室へ向かう。
毒なら。まま飲み込みたかったけど。そしたら今頃。
Yo, Mamo is the biggest pervert of this entire show. Not for the typical perversion, but pervert in terms of the perversive attraction towards poison. Yo, she was literally fantasizing about poison coursing through her body. Wow.
お前バカだろ。
向上心が強いと言ってください。
obviously. For real.
おかげで余計大騒ぎになっている。
ならこれを使ってください。オート薬です。新しいかんざし。宦官もかんざしをもらうのか。遠石で姿を見ないと思ったらそういうことか。
I love Mamo's imagination. Again, oh man, I literally cried in tears. That is freaking hilarious. That's another case in point about cognitive bias. Mamo's bias of Master Jinshi being like the emperor's favorite boy toy, remember that? And I guess having sex and having sexual relationship with other men because he doesn't have PP and whatever false impression a Mao Mao has. Again, because of Mao Mao's false impression of the Master Jinshi was never corrected. Her imagination just get funnier and funnier and farther away from the reality. Again, this is the power of false impression. And that's why fact checking and talking to people and collect data and information is important. Otherwise, whether it's funny, whether it's good or bad scenarios, since we saw cognitive biases being displayed in 3 different scenarios in this episode alone, it's funny, sure, but over time, that impression will become more and more falsified and more like further away from the reality. And that's not necessarily a good thing, as you can see, right? How old is he?
幼く見える。こちらの方がまだいいな。
Is that the beginning of a tiny little spark of interest from Mao Mao towards Master? Because we know that Master has some sort of affinity towards Mao Mao, although the reasons are unclear.
聞く？さすが宮廷医局の薬。
大丈夫か？
はい、もう何も出ません。
She's so impressive.
話を聞こうか。誰が玉葉妃に毒を盛ったのか。
そのことで連れてきてもらいたい方がいます。
誰だ？
徳妃、リーシュ様を呼んでいただけませんか？
Because Mao Mao saw a glimpse of her smirk. And remember, Mao Mao was like, I wish I hadn't seen that. Again, this is a superpower of Mao Mao. She doesn't care about 99% of the things, as I've talked about, but the 1% she does care about, she's hyper-focused, she's very observational, she's very observative, she's very perceptive, she's very astute. She's amazing at what she does because she can dedicate 99% of her effort and energy into 1% of things that actually matters. Because of that, she can pick up on all these cues, observing everyone's behavior, facial expressions, and that's why Mao Mao is the only person in the entirety of the garden party who saw the other lady smirk before they're going to taste that fish. And that's why Mao Mao just gave a very, very important intel and clue toward Master. Again, this is the superpower of letting go of most distractions that don't matter and focus on a few things. Mao Mao's superpower, super impressive.
このような無粋な場所に申し訳ありません。お呼び立てしたのはこちらの次女でして。
次女が？失礼します。やっぱり。
Hold on. She wasn't the one with the smirk? Is everything what I said was just wrong? Okay, let's see.
食べられないのは魚介ですか？
どういうことなんだ？
人によっては
Allergies?
毒は平気で食らうのか？
ほっといてください。
Food allergies.
同僚でも発疹が出るので量の調節が難しく治りが遅い。食べられないとはそういうことです。リーシュ様、お腹の調子は大丈夫ですか？ よければ下剤を。なんでわかったの？園遊会の食事が違ったので、何かの手違いで玉葉様とリーシュ様のはサバですか？
Damn, Mama was good. Wow.
急困難を引き起こします。同じことです。
Facts. Oh. Oof. Wow. Got him.
が1の場合、注意事項をまとめておきました。
Oh, she's innocent?
難しいことはありません。しかし、
You're dead. Death.
命に関わる問題であること、夢
Damn.
夢、忘れないようにしてください。
Whoa.
私はこんなもんか。
Mama only looks serious in her type A personality and her tiger. Because, you know, Mao Mao, again, is cat cat in Chinese. And Mao, or cat, is baby tiger. So Mao Mao's tiger nature comes out only when it's about patient care and life and death of other people. Again, that's the only thing she really cares about, is saving lives. Wait, so who
どういう
poisons?
ことだ？
下船の前へお手を触れないでいただけますか？
そんなことを言うのはお前くらいだ。
では皆気を使っているのですね。では玉葉様に報告がありますので。
待て、なぜ毒味役の次女をわざわざ同席させた？
I have the same question.
何のことでしょう？
とぼけるな。呼べと言っただろ
注意事項を伝えるためです。
う。では、配膳の者が間違えたというのか？
一階の次女には分かりません。
これくらいは答えてくれ。狙われたのは特費。
他の皿に毒が入っていなければ。
Simple deduction. I'm a mere lady in waiting. Bro, Mama, you're so much more than that.
疲れた。
What a day.
先日の木簡の件とやはり
Good question.
でしたが、
一体誰が？
Last thing I'll say before closing today's episode is I feel like low key, Master Jinshi is his affinity and him liking Mao Mao more and more is in part psychologically because Mao Mao is the only one not giving him attention of the day. She doesn't really care about him. She's the only one that takes his hand away. She's the only one that gets grossed out by him getting close to her and all these gestures of affection. Any other ladies in waiting, even concubines, literally get enchanted. They're enamored by Master Jinshi's dazzling good look, that K-pop star look. But Mao Mao is almost as if she's allergic, pun intended, towards Master Jinshi or any other men because of her distrust and so on. I think it's because it's push and pull. Because psychologically, we want more of things that we cannot have. This is definitely the true in dating, high school, or even adulthood, right? People want those people that's not easy to get because it requires effort. It's almost like a game in some twisted way. That's also my speculation towards this interesting dynamic that's brewing between Master Jinshi and Mao Mao. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my analysis for this video. As always, smash that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed because you want to make sure you don't miss my next video and it shows up promptly onto your feed. And leave one question that you have from this episode. Is there anything else you have a question about? Is there anything else I can share more information based on a topic I share in this episode, comment. I'll make sure to follow up and answer whatever I can. As always, appreciate you for tuning in. Until next time, peace.